Got a nice move through VWAP, so I partialed out. And then we started to consolidate into a pennant. Typically with a pennant, it's basically a neutral pattern, but the level 2 was still very bullish. So as we broke the pennant, I started to partial out into those level 2 targets. Hello, my name is Jared. I'm a moderator with Bear Bull Traders, and I'm doing a recap for May 12th, 2022. Main trade today was on Rivian. I had a couple stocks on my watch list. I had Disney and I had Beyond. Both of these are stocks post earnings. Disney did have about a $10 expected move. Lots of volatility after earnings, so was looking at that 105 to kind of get back to previous earnings prices before we saw the volatility. And for Beyond, there was an interesting idea in the option market that I'll show in just a moment. But what I ended up trading was Rivian. Rivian, not necessarily the most obvious bullish candidate today, but level 2 was very bullish in the morning. There's a lot of topside inventory, which is people on the ask side of the level 2. And really what I was trying to do is kind of survive the morning auction, position myself well for continuation, and then hopefully get that move in my favor. So first trade, sort of a 2-minute rally, market pulled back, tried to get in position, but I realized I was a little too early to the trade, so I stopped out. Small loss there. And then as we bottomed out for the day, I went ahead and bought back in. I also saw some buying support on the tape, not necessarily on the level 2. Level 2 wasn't advertising much bidder weakness, but the buying coming in was more market buying. So people were actually stepping into the trade for, the initial position. So I bought with those prices, put my entry around 22, got a nice move through VWAP, so I partialed out, and then we started to consolidate into a pennant. Typically with a pennant, it's basically a neutral pattern, but the level 2 was still very bullish. So as we broke the pennant, I started to partial out into those level 2 targets. Got through 23 without too much difficulty, got close to 24 on the next swing high, and then as we pulled back to R3, got my final profit out near some daily levels. Now, as you can see, this is after the fact. Rivian ended up being a breakout candidate. So this stock has moved through those daily levels and is sitting above R4 for any of the cam traders out there, following the 9-period moving average on the 5, and overall just setting up some nice entries. So, as far as getting back into the stock, you can start to get back in once the level 2 gets back into a bullish bias, more people starting to advertise their targets topside. Additionally, a really important note here, Rivian's not a strong daily chart, but it is the day where it's bouncing. And usually what I like to do is, if it's a very prolonged downtrend, in this case, this is about a, let's just say a 40% drop from this swing high, 35 to 20. It's got earnings. And of course, as we are moving higher, I just don't want to be short biased too early. Maybe starting to get around this 9 period on the daily, because typically the bounce on the daily is indicative of a trend day. As the daily is bouncing, the intraday trade is more bullish. So another thing I was looking at for confirmation was Tesla. Now, Tesla was not the easiest stock to maybe get into this morning, but it did have a nice S4 extreme reversal, set the low at this price, even formed a higher low, and from there it looks like it hasn't really looked back. Nice trend on the 9 period MA on the 5 minute. And overall, just a nice sentiment. The fact that the market is a bit bullish on EVs this morning. I did try and get in around 700 in pre-market, but because the market didn't open, I didn't know what the volatility would look like. And I think even if I had held, I probably would have gotten stopped out. Maybe a small winner as we were moving higher in the beginning of the morning. So the other trade idea was Beyond. This one had more of an option market idea. So I'll show that really quickly. So Beyond had earnings, but yesterday there was no strikes below 20. So all of the option volume was between 20 and 25 on the put side, as indicated by the open interest, and there was nothing in between. So no one really played in these price levels except for the 20s, which was the lowest price offered. Now this has changed, this has opened up and people are trading these lower strikes, but as of the morning, that was not true. And as you can see, when you have a lot of inventory placed at these price levels, the market doesn't really want to transact here until the market opens. And that was more of a bullish bias at the very least to go from 20 to 25 to sort of get out of this low liquidity zone. And from that analysis, I was looking a bit bullish on Beyond as well. Now, it probably wouldn't have been very easy to trade, but it was something that ended up trending. And as you can see, like a lot of stocks coming off of lows, today is not the best day to be short on these stocks, simply because they're not ready to pull back yet. They've already sold off a lot. If they're bouncing on high volume, people are kind of covering and maybe getting into new positions for the next move. So yeah, that's pretty much all I did for today.
Well, I was watching a lot of the stuff that was in play, and I didn't have any specific, targets that I wanted to trade off the open. So when that happens, I usually revert back to my old standbys, which are Apple and AMD. And Apple was really the only thing I ended up trading. I actually missed a short off the open. I was looking for a pop up and a drop, and I chickened out to be honest. So I was waiting to see how weak Apple was going to be and if it was going to reverse. And sure enough, just a couple minutes after the open, I managed to get in. About 10 minutes after the open, it looked like it was bottoming. I was able to take a long trade on Apple. I got to move up above VWAP before it came back and stopped me out. So that was really it off the open. I actually am just in a trade now, channeling our good buddy Brian, who's on vacation hiking in Peru right now, Machu Picchu. But did a little sort of 920. He likes his 920 moving average pullback trades off the open. So on AMD, I was watching it hit high of day, pulled back on the 1 minute chart through the 9 and just sort of touched the 20. And I was seeing some strength on the level 2. So I took it long. I got a nice pop for $1 up above 87, and now it's actually just stopped me out. So, so there you go. So really, I just got a partial, and then it pulled right back here. The market is looking weak at the moment, but that was it. Yeah, which is good for me, right? I really don't want to push it. I'm not one that takes a lot of trades off the open, so happy with the morning so far.
Hopefully you've enjoyed this trade recap from myself and Peter. If so, please feel free to give us a like. As always, subscribe and follow the channel. And if you have any questions or comments about the trades that we reviewed, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thank you and have a great rest of your trade session.